Hello, in this video we'll be examining the principles of government. There are countless principles of government, but let's begin with rule of law, the principle of the rule of law. Now, this principle states that the ruler, the ruled, and every decision taken in a state is subject and is interpreted by the laws of that nation or by the laws of that state, which means that nobody is above this law, not the leader, not the citizens. They must adhere to the laws of that land. It also means that there is impartiality. Anybody accused of a crime, accused of an offense, must have a fair hearing in the court and must be able to defend himself, must be given time to defend himself. Then there's also provision made for the rights and obligations of the citizen. And these provisions, these rights and obligations are protected and clearly spelled out. Also, there are certain factors that limit the principle of rule of law. Let's consider some of them. Number one, state of emergency. Now, when there is state of emergency in a nation, the rights of citizens are violated because everywhere there's an emergency, there's violence. So a citizen normally has rights to movement, but in a state of emergency, these rights are curtailed. You also have the kind of practices, the kind of system being operated. Take, for example, a totalitarianism kind of government. Now, the principle of the rule of law won't apply in a totalitarian system of government. There's also immunity. Now, this kind of immunity is given to executives and some elected officials. Now, this immunity prevents them being indicted or being charged for offenses they've committed. So this way, they're a bit above the law because they cannot be held accountable for crimes they committed. There's also grant of discretionary powers. These powers are given based on the positions of some people. Next, let's talk about the principle of separation of powers. This principle was developed and popularized by Baron de Montesquieu. This principle clearly states that the government should be divided into three tiers. That is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, the legislature is in charge of making laws. The executive is in charge of executing these laws, and the judiciary interprets these laws. This principle helps to safeguard the rights of citizens and avoid dictatorship, tyranny, and excesses of each arm of the government by not vesting power in a single arm of government or vesting power in a single government. Furthermore, it encourages the division of labor and specialization, and it helps maintain law and order in a society. Let's move on to checks and balances. Now, checks and balances is defined as vesting powers in these arms of government that help them to check the excesses of the other arms of government. Like now, you give some certain powers to the executive to be able to monitor the activities of the legislature. Now, this is not to interfere on their powers or to make them look smaller, but this is just to make sure that those ones don't get too much power and they don't become dictatorial in the process. But then, checks and balances have certain demerits or disadvantages. One of them being that the legislature can impeach the president, thereby keeping the president at the mercy of the legislature, causing the very first thing that it was supposed to prevent, which is not giving the one arm of government too much power over the other one. Then, these checks and balances make the judiciary have interference or make them have power over actions made by the executive and laws made by the legislature. They have the power to overrule these actions and overrule these legislatures. Also, the power of the president to veto bills makes him a part of the lawmaking process, thereby giving him lawmaking powers. He also has the prerogative of mercy, which interferes with the judicial powers of the judiciary. Now, let's talk about political participation and political apathy. Starting with political participation. Political participation is defined as when a citizen voluntarily decides to take active part in the political activities of the state. Now, he can take part in these activities by being a voter, running for office himself. He can take up public posts. He can act as a polling agent, or he can sponsor a political party. Now, political apathy is the opposite of political participation. Here, the citizen has no interest in any activities of politics because of restrictions due to his or her gender, his or her race.